Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5. The Game here on this Monday. He's Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier. He's in for Big Joe today. Big Joe is hanging out on Duval Street right now, down in Key West. Brandon Bixby, a.k.a. Brando, on the ones and twos behind the glass. And the Predators, unfortunately, have lost 3 in a row, including a 3-2 loss in Tampa Bay yesterday afternoon. They still hold that second wild card spot with 77 points. They're behind the Utah Mammoth, who have 82, but they're only 1 point ahead of the Los Angeles Kings with 76, who have not played great as of late, and the Seattle Kraken, who have 75, who have also not played that great as of late. Winnipeg at 74, and then San Jose and St. Louis at 73 points. St. Louis 7-1-2 in their last 10. They have not gone away by any means.
They're sneaky.
They are sneaky.
They got, I think, a 12.7% chance to make the playoffs, according to Money Puck. So, something to look at.
Only 8 games left for the Predators. I think 10 left for St. Louis. So they got a couple of games in hand as well. But Preds will be off until Thursday, and then they begin a 5-game road trip on the West Coast. They went to Tampa. They came back. They'll leave on Wednesday to head out west. But a huge, huge road trip because they got all these head-to-head matchups against teams that they're competing against for a playoff spot, including Thursday night when they play the Los Angeles Kings. They see the Kings twice on this road trip. They see the Sharks once, and then they see them when they come back home on the 13th, so 2 weeks from today. They see Utah, and they see Anaheim. So it's a really important road trip. In my opinion, if you win 3 of these 5 games, I think you're in the playoffs on the road trip.
Maybe.
I mean, you're going to need a little help, but if you beat LA, that's good for you because that's head-to-head. I think you need to sweep LA, beat San Jose, and then toss up games with Anaheim and Utah, and then you come back against Minnesota. I view that as a toss-up. You need to beat San Jose and then see where you're at on the 16th.
There are a lot of games to look at. For me personally, out of these 8 games to end the season, I think you have to win 5 of them. I think 5 of them you have to win. I'd agree with that. And they can't be in overtime. They got to be regular.
Regulation, yeah.
They need to have regulation wins. And I'd say out of those 5, you're right, Chase. I think they go sweep LA in both of those. That's a needed thing.
You have to win the head-to-head matchups against the teams you're fighting against.
100%. And let's say there's a backdoor chance they get wild card 1 spot. I mean, again, you need some, dominoes to fall your direction, but say Utah finds a little bit of a slump to end the season. They're only at 82 points. The Preds string together 2 to 3 wins. I mean, you're up there in the 80s at that point. You're probably, 83 points? I'm curious to know, where is your line of demarcation when it comes to the amount of points that the Preds need to get into the playoffs?
Like you're saying, how many points do I think they need to get?
In total, yeah.
That's a really good question. So there's 8 games left, which give you a total of you could have 16.
Right.
So that would put you at, if you got all 16, they can max out at 93, I think is right.
That's correct.
Man. I mean, I feel like you got to get to 85 or 87 to have a chance.
Yeah, my number was 86. I'm thinking at least got to get 10 points, at least.
Yeah.
I was listening to DVD last week, and I think Willie and Adam were going back and forth on the points, and they were saying 85. I'm more.
I think think you might be correct.
Yeah, I'm thinking 86 might be the number because, again, you mentioned the head-to-heads. You get 2 of those wins, and everybody keeps talking about the 4-point swing. Those are 4-point games if you win those in regulation.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Man, that's a good question to kind of put it in that type of perspective. But I believe I'm with you. I mean, if you get 86. But again, it also depends on what's happening around you. If St. Louis stays on this tear, then, I mean, they're going to catch you.
Exactly. That's why you got to keep winning. I mean, looking at the rest of – and I'm trying not to get ahead of myself when looking at the Utah Mammoth schedule, but, I mean, they take on –
And by the way, St. Louis takes on the Kings on Wednesday.
Oh.
So go Blues.
Okay. I like this. Yeah. That is, again, all these games, they matter. And, again, it has that playoff atmosphere to it because of the amount of, emphasis there is on these points in the standings. So, I mean, if they can somehow string together at least 2 to 3 wins on this away schedule like you're mentioning, I'm all about it.
Here's the other thing, too. On our YouTube chat, Predemption points out, technically by points percentage, the Preds are back in the lottery, according to Tankathon.
Oh, my.
So, yeah, I mean, that is the chance. If they don't make the playoffs, they hypothetically could be in the lottery. Could you imagine?
But again, everybody keeps griping that the Preds are always in the mucky middle. Well, guess what? You're in a good position now where you could either make the playoffs or potentially be in the lottery. And that's a good position to be in a roundabout way.
Yeah.
I mean, I look at if the Preds were to make the playoffs, I think it's a huge success, not only for the franchise, but for these young players like a Matthew Wood, a Reed Schaefer, all the Ozzy Weisblatt, all these young former first-round talents, because they get playoff experience. They can take that into next season.
According to Music City Bets, our Vegas insider, that Vegas had the Preds win total points at 86.5.
I'm good.
You are good.
I'm good.
You are good. So that's where they got to be.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like 86 points is the number. Like, if there is a number, if it's 85, hopefully things fall in your way. But I think 86 is the bare minimum you have to have. Yeah. At least 10 points.
They just need, I mean, look, I feel like for the most part, the guys that need to be chipping in are chipping in. Forsberg scored again last night on a tip-in. He leads the team in points with 67. He's got 34 goals. There's a chance he hits 40. The way he's been playing. Steven Stamkos, 58 points, 36 goals. I think there's a good chance he's got 4 or more left in him. He needs to. He has to. You know, Ryan O'Reilly at 66 points. Luke Evangelista got his 40th assist. He's at 50 points, which is a career high. I mean, so they're getting contributions from the guys that need to contribute, but you need the secondary scoring too. Joachim Kimmel scores his first career NHL goal last night, and it's a weird one. And as Hal Gill kept saying, it's not how you score it, it's how many. And, you know, he ends up going in the back of the net with the puck, but they award him the goal. And so he scores the goal last night, which was, I think, came at a clutch time. He basically guaranteed it when he did the first intermission interview with Max and Hal. So that was pretty cool that was able to come true. But they just, you know, Matt Wood needs to continue to play the way he's playing. He's got 16 goals, 27 points. And then just keep being the little engine that could. Because now, at this point, you got draft assets. You traded off some guys. If this team makes it, then I think it's a great story.
I agree.
I mean, either way, I feel like this team it's a positive. So I'd love to see him make the run, see what happens. I mean, if you get into the first round and, you know, you lose in 5 or 6 to Colorado, then you lose in 5 to 6, you know, or whatever to Colorado. But if you get in and these young guys don't know any better, then who knows?
They can mess
Colorado
around
hasn't played great in the second half of the season.
I've said this to Willie and Adam.
I'm not saying they're going to beat Colorado, so don't say that.
I'll say this to you, Chase. The President's Trophy, bad juju.
It is a curse.
It's a bad juju, man.
We've seen it. I know people around here that believe it because they've said that to me. I'm not going to say who they are, but they have. So, I mean, I don't know. And I ran into Ryan Johansson the other night. They honored him, and I mean, he knows better than anybody being on that team in 2016-17 where they draw Chicago and everybody's like, they're going to get swept. And then the total opposite happened. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen here, but again, if you have a team that doesn't know any better and it's kind of like whatever, then that's dangerous.
It's like the Mighty Ducks. You just put together a bunch of youngsters and see what happens. You have your bruisers, you have your goal scorers, you just put it all together. How was Saturday night, by the way? Minus the result, I heard it was a fun event.
Johansson?
Yeah. Mike Fisher, Carrie Underwood.
No, it was cool. I didn't get to see Mike, which I wish I had, but Mike and Carrie were there, and then Joey was there. We're doing the post-game show, and I hear somebody yelling at me, and I look up, and there's Johansson. I'm like, oh, yep, on brand. So I'm glad that I'm glad I got to see him and talk to him for a second. But it was cool. It was good having those guys back and that, they're around and want to still be involved. But 615-737-1025, that's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do you think about the Predators? Do you still want to see a run? Do you feel good about it? Has it changed with them losing 3 in a row? 615-737-1025. Also want to tell you about, we talked to him on Thursday, but 1025 The Game and the Team Boxing League have your chance to win a pair of VIP tickets as the Nashville Smash will take on the Phoenix Fury at Municipal Auditorium on Friday, April the 17th. Text in the keyword FIGHT, F-I-G-H-T, to the game text line at 615-737-1025 to enter to win. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel on 1025 The Game.
Been a lot of hockey, and you're coming into this game, what kind of energy are you looking to bring?
I'm just going to move my legs and give a couple of hard hits and maybe score later on this game.
Well, we know you got the shot, but I feel like you've committed to working on the forecheck.
Oh yeah, I will.
always, right? And then you'll get the shot. It's coming
that's
soon?
Right. Yeah, you're going to just work for it, so I'm going to do that and then score.
Here they come into the offensive zone. Braden Point hounded by Philip Forsberg, and he got the puck away to Barron. Forsberg into the offensive zone to Kimmel. Partial break. He's knocked into the net. The puck's in the goal. Is that a goal? It's at least a penalty against the Lightning. Maybe a penalty shot. No signal beyond the arm in the air for the penalty from the referees.
They're consulting right now. They have not made a call yet.
Could this be Joachim Kimmel's first NHL goal? Eric Chernak sent him, the puck, and the goalie all into the net before the net came off its moorings.
I would think that's a goal.
Both referees and one linesman huddled in the officials' crease in front of the penalty boxes with 11:29 left in the second period. The Preds are at least getting a power play here, and maybe more. All right, we're going to get an announcement from referee Carter Sandlack.
The call on the ice is a good goal. We have the actions of the defensive player pushing the offensive player into their own goalie.
Preds score! Joachim Kimmel gets his first NHL goal. And what a way to get it.
And he called it, too. In our interview, he called it not the way he had it planned, but doing the right thing, going hard to the net. And they're going to review that, but I don't think there's anything in my mind that would overturn that. He was knocked down. It was a penalty that pushed him with the puck into the net.
There you go. That's how it sounded yesterday afternoon with Max Ers and Hal Gill. Joachim Kimmel does the first intermission interview. Pretty much says, I'm going to move my legs and I'm going to go score. The goaltender and the puck all go in the net, and he gets his first career NHL goal.
He definitely moved his legs.
He did.
Definitely did.
He did exactly what he said he was going to do and what he needed to do and worked for it and got rewarded.
Kudos.
Unfortunately, the Predators did not win, but it was still a memorable first goal.
Hey, can he carry the momentum into April? That's
Hopefully.
the big thing.
He's been an interesting one because I feel like they've been taking him in and out of the lineup. And again, I look, Andrew Burnett knows more about hockey than I'll ever know, but I feel like with a young player like that, you need to let him play. And the more you can let him play, the better off. Give him, maybe try and give him some power play opportunities, and he's a scorer. That's what he does. So I kind of feel like they should try and put him in the lineup more, but we'll see what happens on this road trip.
Yeah, to the point of getting him more minutes and just more time on the ice, yes, that is the right move to do. I just don't know if it's good to do that right now. You know what I'm saying? Because
he's up here, then send him back. My thing is send him back to Milwaukee if you're not going to play him.
Right. I mean, his numbers in Milwaukee, 46 games, 10 goals, 19 assists, so 29 points total. I mean, that's not bad. I mean, for a youngster of Joachim Kimmel to play for the Preds now, I think, yes, if you do keep him up, he's just got to pick and choose his battles for him. Kind of like when Fedor Svechkov earlier on in the season was playing center and he just didn't really have a good feel of the game. I feel like we're seeing that with Kimmel right now. Am I incorrect with that assessment?
No, I don't think you're incorrect, but No, I think that's a good assessment.
Yeah, I just looking at the whole situation right now. These are valuable minutes, and if they are so valuable for the Preds to move on to make the playoffs, he's got to show up even more.
Well, but my thing is, you got rid of guys that would take those minutes, and so now, I mean, look, they took Ufko out last night, which he's been playing well, but I think for defensively, he needed a bit of a reset. So you take him out, you can put him back in. Weisblatt's been in and out of the lineup. I mean, they're being conservative for the right reasons with these young guys because as you said, these minutes are so important. I think, a lot of teams would assume when you make those trades, then you're not going to play very well, and you can let these guys play because it doesn't matter. Well, it still matters because the West is so tight. I mean, St. Louis is going through it now. Winnipeg has been on a surge, so I hear what you're saying. My thing is I think he has a skill set that can help you. It's just, is there the right spot to put him in where he can help you?
Yeah, and I think a few names that you mentioned last segment and also this segment a little bit is Philip Forsberg, Steven Stamkos. Those are two guys that you need to have playing valuable minutes. Obviously they are, but they need to be compensating more of what Joakim Kimmel is trying to do than what he's playing at the level he's at right now. I think that's the big factor in this April stretch is that you need guys, and again, Ryan O'Reilly's kind of simmered off a little bit, but he needs to kind of come back into play a little bit more.
Justin says, I want the Preds to go on a run, but the real question is, do they? How hungry are they, and can they bring playoff intensity the remainder of this season? That is what will be necessary for their success. I think they're hungry. I don't question that at all. I think this team is starving, and they want to prove people wrong. The question is, do they have the depth and the ability to do it? I think the guys we mentioned, they have the ability. But is this team deep enough? That's my concern is you traded off a lot of your depth, and now you've called up pretty much everybody that you should from Milwaukee that fills that depth, and, they're young players. So, let's say you do get out of the first round. How deep are you if injuries happen and all of that to make the run? That's the question.
Yeah, maybe.
And it's a good problem to have if you end up having to get to that point.
Right. I think second round might be the ultimate ceiling for this team. If that is the case, they get into the playoffs. One thing that has grabbed my attention, it's the goaltending, and it's not just that UC Saros is up and down, whatever. It's the fact that if the Preds want to make the playoffs, Justus Annunen has to be perfect. If not perfect, near perfect.
Ready to go.
Every single game he plays, he has to be spot on ready.
I think he's played well.
Yeah.
I've been pretty impressed with him as of late, and I think that's why you're seeing him get more starts because they know they can trust him and give Saros, a little extra rest that I think he desperately needs. It's the play in front of both of them that is going to have to help him.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the bottom line. I mean, they got to help themselves, but I think they need the extra help in front too.
And we've seen that in the game against versus New Jersey when that goal kind of squeaked between Roman Josi and I think it was Meyer. It just went right between their jersey and Annunen didn't see it. Those little goals that kind of squeak through, those are the ones that Annunen's thinking, man, I wish I had that back. Because overall, those goals might be the key factors as to them being left out, unfortunately.
615-737-1025 is their phone and text line. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Tee it up with us at the 5th Annual 615 Open, May 28th at Hermitage Golf Course. Once again, we're supporting Folds of Honor to help them fund life-changing scholarships for families of America's fallen heroes. You can register now to play or sponsor by going to 615open.com. Coming up next, has the SEC lost its national powerhouse feel in football? Paul Feinbaum thinks so, and he blames one person. We will discuss that coming up next here on Chasing Big Joe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier, and for Big Joe today, 102.5 The Game. All of our basketball coverage is driven by Toyota, Nelson's Greenbrier Distillery, Maple Street Biscuit Company, Thompson Machinery, and Pizzona MD. Appreciate them for being on board with us as the Final Four is set coming up this Saturday. Chasing Big Joe today, Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier, Brandon Bigsby in as Big Joe is on vacation. He'll be back Thursday from the Omni Nashville Hotel. So you brought this to my attention. Paul Feinbaum, of course, SEC Network host and does his own show was on the McElroy and Kubelik morning show on Jocks down in Birmingham. Do a great job there. And they were talking about, and he noted that the SEC has lost its traditional dominance in college football. And he points towards the Georgia Bulldogs as the primary reason that has happened. But he blames one person for that, and it's not Kirby Smart. He noted that this is on Nick Saban, that Nick Saban's final blow was beating Georgia in his final season. They end up losing to Michigan. Alabama ends up losing to Michigan. But he believes had Georgia not lost to Alabama that year, they would have won the national championship. So he's blaming Saban.
Go figure, right? A Tennessee grad blaming an Alabama coach. Go figure. I think it's a little bit blasphemous the way you're just going to blame Nick Saban that way. I think you have to blame it more on the downfall of the conference in general. I don't think it's on Saban.
Sorry to interrupt. Continue.
No. Go ahead, please.
Well, I was going to say, I don't know if I consider it to be a downfall. I think it's just everybody else is caught up. Yeah. I think in the NIL era and the transfer portal, it allows other teams in the SEC to be better, so therefore the SEC is going to cannibalize itself. Like, for Alabama was the big dog for a long time. Well, then Georgia comes along, and they're just as equal. And then you got Tennessee that's going to come in there and get a couple of upsets. Vanderbilt has the season that they have. Missouri was better. I mean, it just Texas A&M, Texas, top to bottom, the conference is better, and therefore they beat up on each other. Well, then also you have the Big Ten that has their powerhouses that continue to be good.
Their realignment as well.
Right. And then you have, Indiana that comes out of nowhere and it wins the whole thing, which is crazy to think about. So I think, and I hear what you're saying, but I think it's just everyone else is caught up. And I'm not sure that there's ever going to be a dominant conference again like there was based on the parity that's been created because of NIL and the portal.
Yeah, I just look at it as a scapegoat answer blaming Nick Saban because
yeah, of course, but they have beef.
Yeah, and we all know the phrase that says you can't follow up the man of the man, and that's Nick Saban and then Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer, to me, again, like you make a good point there, Chase. Everybody's caught up in the SEC. I think it's more of not that everybody's caught up. I think there's just a lack of production in the conference itself. It's not that everybody's caught up. I think the product has been diluted a little bit. I mean, you look at Mississippi State was a powerhouse with Dan Mullen. They've dropped off. They had Mike Leach for a little bit on the right trajectory. They got 8-4 season. They fell off. You look at Tennessee. They struck a hot iron with Josh Heupel. That's kind of fallen off a little bit. We're seeing a little bit of a regression across the conference. LSU, they had Brian Kelly. They thought that was going to work out. That has fallen off. They'll see what happens with Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin reached a peak with Ole Miss. Ole Miss would always get to the 9-3s, the 10-2s, and then guess what? He leaves before the playoff begins. They hit a ceiling. They almost go all the way. Now he's going to LSU to see if that works every single year. And again, that's where I'm at on all this. You look at Arkansas. I mean, I could go on and just dissect each team. Like A&M, they have all the oil money in the world to support that program. With Elko, I think they're going to reach a new ceiling, but I don't know if it's going to be to the national title.
Yeah, but they got to compete with Texas and Texas Tech. I mean, Texas Tech has that same, some of that oil money too.
Yeah.
It's all about money. Money's going to move everything. That's why I think you've seen Clark Lee and now Mark Byington stay with Vanderbilt because they realize that that financial commitment not only to them but to the program is there. Something that hadn't been the case, but now in this new era, I mean, this is something that Vanderbilt could certainly play, a game they could play. But you're seeing other schools like Indiana. I mean, Indiana just won a national championship because they played the game the right way when it came to, getting Mendoza and playing the portal and bringing those guys in. It's all about that financial commitment to these programs. And so that's why I say that other programs have caught up, and therefore it's going to take away the dominant conference, which to me, it just feels like we're getting closer and closer and closer to a super conference that's going to basically be the bread and butter of college football, and then you're going to have kind of everybody else over here.
Yeah, I could see that. Kind of like an NFL model almost, where you have like, your AFC and NFC.
Right,
and
because there's if you really think about it, there are about 32 teams that realistically can compete for the national championship. And I think we all know who they are. And then there's everybody else. So that's, to me, where I think it's going to end up going. Now, you're going to have some outliers. Like, what is Indiana? Is Indiana an outlier? Or are they going to be doing this every year? Is Vanderbilt an outlier? Or are they back in, where we belong here. We should be at this table. I think they should be at that table. The question is going to be who can do that year in and year out, and then what's the next level, and can you get your school to the next level? And this applies to not only football, but I think to basketball, to baseball, to all the major sports.
I agree. Like, you look at basketball, prime example, Vanderbilt, they're going to have probably a lot of people calling for Tyler Tanner's name this upcoming offseason because that's
why it was so important to keep Byington.
Exactly. And I think putting, pen to paper, you're right. It keeps them around. You mentioned Vanderbilt and Indiana in the same conversation there. I'm curious to see it as what they do now with new quarterbacks at the helm. Because, again, last season with Indiana, Mendoza could rely on both of his running backs. Both of his running backs were 1,000-yard rushers. Yeah. So, again, you have the supporting cast. You wonder for Vanderbilt, do they have the supporting cast for their new quarterback?
Time will tell because, Junior Sherrill's back. They got Eli Stowers left, but who is the other tight end? I think he's pretty good. Yeah. He's back. So you're going to have weapons. It's just, like you said, it's the quarterback. And if we truly believe – that the freshman's going to be the guy, is he ready, or do you have to prepare for growing pains, which I think you do. Look, Jerry Curtis is talented, no doubt about it. He wouldn't have been a 5-star recruit, originally to Georgia and then flips to Vandy if he wasn't, but he's still young, and there's a big step going from being the man in a high school to playing SEC ball.
Yeah, and especially the talents that he was playing when he was in high school is that some of those guys – you're not your SEC players, right? You're looking at some guys that are like me that are 5'5", barely getting to 5'6". That's the difference in play you're getting there. And again, the SEC is a different breed, and I know I'm kind of alluding to the product is diluted a little bit in the SEC. But again, it's back to the main question of can Indiana and Vanderbilt turn the tide a little bit and go on to the next chapter and say, hey, we're here to stay, instead of it was more of a one-off thing.
Looking at their schedule. The first part is favorable. They got Austin Peay, then Delaware, then NC State, then they go to Auburn. There's a good chance Vanderbilt could start out 4-0. Well, then you got to go to Athens and play them. Don't feel great about that. Ole Miss comes here. That's a toss-up game because let's see. Chambliss is back, so let's see what Ole Miss is. Arkansas, then you're at Kentucky, you're at Mississippi State. You play Alabama again here. You go to Gainesville, and then Tennessee's here. So the schedule is in your favor, to have another good year. So let's say they start out, all right, 4-0, 4-1. I'll say 4-2, 5-2, 6-2, but at Kentucky, Mississippi State 7-2, Alabama, I'll say 7-3 at Florida, 7-4. Tennessee's here, maybe call it 8-4.
I was thinking 8 wins on that schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe 9. I think the Florida game is going to be a toss-up.
Yeah,
we don't really know what Florida's going to be this year.
Could be. I just say, it's hard to play at Gainesville.
Yeah.
So yeah, there could be 7, 8, 9 wins on that schedule if everything goes well.
Yeah, and I'm sure if you tell a Vandy fan 8 wins, you cool with that with the first year of Jared Curtis? They're like, sign me up.
Ready to take that.
Give that to me.
I'd take that all day long.
Yeah, man. You're the Vandy fan, exactly. Like, give that any day of the week.
So I thought it was interesting. When you sent me that of Feinbaum, kind of looking at it that way. But it's just the evolution of college football and college sports in general of where things have gone. We'll reset the Final Four, and John McClain will join us at the top of the next hour. It's Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5 The Game here on this Monday. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier in for Big Joe. Brando on the ones and twos behind the glass. David Janes lurking around as well. I know I teased basketball, but we just saw this on SportsCenter, and then I looked it up. So I guess John Harbaugh, speaking in the media today at the owners' meetings, was asked about Odell Beckham Jr., who played for him in Baltimore. Obviously was drafted by the Giants, and he said he is he is open to the idea of a reunion with both himself and the Giants and Odell Beckham.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed, but I think the NFL needs I would say one of those wide receivers that really turns the needle a little bit. I mean, he's one of those guys that obviously he's not in his prime anymore.
Yeah,
so you're definitely
he's 33.
You're not going to get the best out of him. He's probably going to be more of your, I'd say numbers to the hashes type receiver where you're not going to be taking a lot of contact over the middle of the field.
Harbaugh's answer was, quote, the obvious pat answer would be you look at every option. And if Odell is an option, we'll be looking at him for sure, end quote.
Wow. It just seems like he's just trying to tune up the band a little bit.
And they do talk. He said he and I do talk. We text. We maintained a really great relationship. He's one of my very favorite people in the world. It's not like you don't talk to guys on things like that, and certainly we have.
I keep forgetting they were in Baltimore together for like one season. Didn't
he
sign with Baltimore? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there might be something there then.
Yeah. I mean, look, if you put Beckham with Malik Neighbors and I don't know who else is in that receiver room.
Let's see. They have Ricard now, the fullback. They have Isaiah Likely. Is they're both former Ravens.
Yeah. Let's see. Wide receivers currently on the roster, if this is correct. Let's see. Calvin Austin, they signed him out of Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know that guy. Don't know that guy. Don't know that guy.
Jalen Hyatt's
there. Isaiah Hodgins is somebody. Courtney Jackson they just signed.
Darius Slayton.
Darnell Mooney.
Ooh.
He's one that was he in Baltimore?
He was in Atlanta.
Yeah, they signed him. So you got Neighbors, Darius Slayton, Darnell Mooney, Jalen Hyatt. I mean, they definitely could use some help. I mean, you bring Malik Neighbors, you bring in Odell. That could be interesting.
Yeah, I know Tim Hasselbeck's even talked about Darnell Mooney before, saying he just needs a fresh start somewhere. And I think New York might be one of those spots. And again, he's not your first or second option, but he could be.
Sure.
If he works from wide receiver 3, he could work up to wide receiver 2. Just depends on how it all shakes out for him.
Well, and I mean, looking at it with the Titans, I feel better about that receiver room, but I don't know. Well, I think they need to add another piece.
There needs to be something else. And I think I was talking to either Connor or Joe about this. You look at the Titans wide receiver room and you say, yes, it might have been Calvin Ridley. Yes, he offers, something to the offense. Brian Dable, their history, whatever. But there's not that X factor wide receiver. Like you have your Alec Almeiers, your Chim DKs, but when you go and grab Wan'Dale Robinson, to me he screams good wide receiver.
He's not an X factor.
But not an X factor.
No, and I agree with you. I mean, they don't have that guy. But do they have enough that they could basically have a heavy rotation with those guys that it could be effective? I still think, and this is more of at 35 or somewhere around that if there's a guy you identify as hey, this guy could help me, and that's your second pick, then you take him. I mean, if you go Love at 4 or one of the pass rushers, then you've addressed, Love is a playmaker that you've gotten for Cam Ward, but, we'll see. And then at 35, if one of these receivers is sitting there that you really like, then you take him.
How about this? At number 4, say Ruben Bain and Jeremiah Love are there at number 4. What are you taking?
I would still take Bain.
Really?
I still would go Bain. I like Love, and I understand everybody's infatuation with that, and the fact that John's been talking about it, and the fact that you want to give a playmaker to your quarterback. So again, I get that, but elite pass rushers are just hard to find.
It's fair.
So that's my thing. But I will say the cop-out answer is I don't think either answer is wrong. I mean, no. I think your team gets better with one of those two guys.
I agree. My thing is, and everybody that listens to me on the radio is probably thinking, this guy is absolutely crazy. I am so in love with Jeremiah Smith next season. If the Titans just give away their entire future for a top
receiver,
yeah. I think if they can somehow maybe get Jeremiah Love this year at 4, and then somehow trade away a few players and or trade away some draft stock next season to get in that top 4, top 3, whatever, go grab your perennial wide receiver next year as well. and then you go get Jermaine Johnson, sign him to another deal. I think this season a contractual year this year, so you can just go grab another year out of him. I think there's a way where you can kind of, level this out, where you can kind of keep your veteran defensive players. And you've already signed your Alante Taylors, your Cordell Flotts in the secondary. There is a way where you can marriage all this together, and it could work.
Yeah, 615-737-1025. I haven't really seen anything. I don't know if the Titans were today but I haven't really seen that they said anything at the owners' meetings. I don't know if Paul's put anything out or what, but
you think they got tea there for Amy for tea time?
Maybe. I know Tehran's going to be there. I also wonder too if I guess we may find some Super Bowl locations with this too.
Yeah, Titans could be on that list hopefully. There was an article a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, talking about how they want Vegas to be a reoccurring place.
Yeah, which I get.
Yeah,
I mean, Paul says if Vegas in fact gets the Super Bowl in 2029, the Titans actually feel like it bodes well for Nashville in the big game long term. Because, again, Vegas is like one of those destination cities that Nashville has become. So it'd be interesting to see if there's like a regular, every 6-7 years, something like that.
Wouldn't hate it.
No, it'd be fine. Be great for the city. That's why you built the stadium.
Do you think
to do things like that?
You think because all the casinos, and obviously because it's Vegas, the casinos are so accessible towards the stadium at Allegiant. If Nashville would have something like that, you think that would become the new hotbed for all of sports in general?
Potentially. Yeah. I could certainly see that. But I don't know. It'll be, we're kind of at that point now where this is more league stuff, but then we get into the dark days of the off season and then get some OTAs going, post draft. I'm just ready for the draft.
Yeah.
I am ready for the draft because then you'll have a better idea of just how improved this team actually is.
And imagine after day one, I think a lot of the anxiety and weight on a lot of Titans fans' shoulders is going to be relieved, regardless if it's an edge rusher or a playmaking running back or if it's just maybe a trade back. You never know.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a lot of pressure that is going to be taken off the shoulders of Titans fans around here.
Jim Wyatt does have on TennesseeTitans.com, I guess Kyle Shanahan talked today and said Jimmy writes, Kyle Shanahan, his longtime friend and former boss with the San Francisco 49ers, is happy for head coach Robert Saleh. Well, mostly happy. Shanahan says, quote, I'm not that happy. I didn't want to lose him. He said with a smile. I was real happy for Robert. Robert deserves to be a head coach. He is one of the better coaches in this league. I thought he got a raw deal the first time around with the Jets. So he's happy for his friend. He says it looks like a good situation in Tennessee. We hated losing him with the 49ers, but I'm real happy for him and his wife, and I know he's going to do a hell of a job in Tennessee.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, it's the Kyle Shanahan Rehabilitation Group. I mean, that's what it is out in San Francisco.
And he was with him for a couple of different stints.
Right. 2017 too. Yeah, before he went to New Jersey.
Yeah, I mean, he was there for a few years. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. The Titans graphics people though need to go update all the coaches' photos, put the new logo on them.
Oh, they still have the Titans.
Still got the flaming thumbtack.
Maybe some things need to just stay.
No, we'll see.
Maybe there's a little homage in there.
We'll see. So you got to be accurate. Coming up next, we'll talk to John McClain from Houston, get his thoughts on the owners' meetings and all of that stuff. It's Chasing Big Joe on a Monday, 102.5 The Game.